some prose poems instead. We get through this bio first. Hester is from Louisville, Kentucky.
So yeah, it was less than honest. These are prose poems, just really long poems. So, family history, 1967 to 1974, part 1. Before you were 10, and for many years after, you spent nights floating above those ghost cities that rise like light beneath the Cumberland. You were out past Wolf Creek. Underneath your fishing boat and underneath the thin Lake Meniscus, whole towns sit still, though not uninhabited. Walleye, rainbow trout, that Cretaceous snout of alligator gar. Your father anchors 2 blocks away where strikers congregate by the old bank. You have a lantern and a Zenith radio. A lone Sterling can sweats unopened beneath your seat. You are tuned into Chicago and it's 1967. You'll meet my mother in 3 years. In 7, you'll be thrown through the front windshield of a car. What does it do to a boy to spend so much time alone and weightless atop a city? Everything tonight, from the fish bite to the delicate town your childhood glides over, sits on delay. Part 2. It's a carnival, maybe a county fair. My mother's family video rolls and a bear cub scrabbles the tethered chain, nodding him to the park bench. The cub will play, but you can see the beat of the instinct's heart. My uncles, not yet bears themselves, scratch, not unkindly, behind the wiry ears and the naked soles of the hind paws. My grandmother, all tanned in a tube top with cat-eye glasses, beams at her daughter and sons. The monophonic voice of what my mother was, telling her brothers, let him go, let him go. Mom, in the film you look as though you already know me. Your eyes, centering on the lens for less than a flash, cradle something in them that has not yet. It is as if you already know that each time after that moment, when the reel is pulled from the box, you will see into the room that projects it. The melanoma, shotgun scare, your own divorce, the thing unstitching your own mother's hemmed mind that slowly lets go of everything it has ever held. Part 3. I imagine the storm within terrific reach of the two. The winds in their growl, and how in the park, the funnel, that twirl current of cool and lukewarm, how it must have howled, how it must have tasted eerie passing through birds veiled in trees, through the marrowless bone of raptor, how bird songs carry on such winds. I imagine the gust and the fumbling hands, the hearts of parked lovers, and how parked cars with conjugated teens moan when what finally blows is only wind, all the while wind sucking light from sky to turn grass to mulch, to earth to till. And the scene beforehand, when the sky was less colored and more shape, a ball of currents experts describe as eyes, as if still is the apt adverb to describe the motionlessness of a storm before it reaches, still while it approaches, still I imagine. And vibrations-charged particles, vibrations charging in the blood of kids beneath streetlights and basketball goals, children hidden in dugouts on baseball diamonds, rhythms of the storm. 39 years passed, I think on my father at 17 and in 1974, my mother 16 and in his hands that night. So that's one. They're going to be long, I'm sorry. Thank you all. How to dream on the morning you kicked me out. Let it open like the eye, lid or moon roof that reveals itself in the back of your skull while you sleep. I watch you unzip that stitch of cortex where the limbic sea, electric, blue, and so turned on at night and dream, incinerates all our kind stories. Hell, love should make you feel holy. And so I hold your voice with child's hands against my ears like a bomb. What a warm factory the body is. Beside me, unknowingly, you rose between me and the sun to let our shadows do what our bodies could not again touch. Shadows, we move among many, and if you are not ours, if I cannot ever disappear wholly from that room, no, it is still early, and the light enters every meridian. This is called Dallas, What I Would Tell You If You Weren't a Jackass and Dead. Part 1. This morning, there were 4 horseflies fossilized in the wax-soaked dish, dead between the bathroom window's edge and the tub's reservoir of perfume and standing water. I had forgot the light and the window, and to even plunge the shower of what skin or danger if I had washed away. Being neither dim nor too bright, only some whirring Valkyrie-touched nitwit in need of nectar or blood knew the flies filled their guts and lungs on the pollen of dove, the lilac of dial. Dallas, the radiant half-wit fly can beat its wings 220 times a second, but not once toward no. Part 2. You see, a good ending should be surprising and still feel inevitable, and goddamn if you didn't deliver in spades. How did we play 21 innings of baseball every night, jumping into the floodlights of Silver Creek Road? Scientists say a nucleus is small compared to the Holy Spirit of an atom. Picture an orange on the altar in the nave under the dome of St. Paul's Cathedral in London. That is roughly the difference. And it is not so different in size or any less important than the citrus skin you gave your daughter, who is now 7 and runs the bases like you did, fast and electrifying and rounding for home. Part 3. You just missed it. The look on your sister's face when she found you stone-faced, breathless. You would have apologized were it not for the collapsed lungs sunk in your chest cavity, your face blued by the rain that fell one by one, each drop speaking once when it touched you, a single voice, one syllable long. Part 4. Here I can say anything. For instance, I can say you died twice. Once when the heart stops, and then again the last time someone says your name. Dallas, our every moment now is spent in a space as black and possibly as vivid as my own skull, where I still see you bare-knuckle boxing the garden gnomes planted in your front yard when we were children. The clipped wings of a dodo, the acrobatic life of the golden toad, the woolly mammoth, and the city you were named for is how I know you continue. And then this is the last one. On Finding God in a Kosher Deli. A poem for John Gillespie Major Jr., Heinrich Hertz, my mom, and the Caroline Islands. 1. It was a sad face she wore over corned beef on rye when cornered finally in that deli. I said, "Mom, I just don't believe in God." She said, "Well, maybe you've been reading too many of them books of yours. It's all gone to your head." And I said, "Well, anything's possible, I suppose, though I don't know if I buy that." And she knew I didn't. That's okay. I say I got a reverence for it all. Hell, I love it. Some things just throw me is all. I apologized if I ruined your lunch. She assures me I did not, so we hug. Leaving, she asks if I would watch her dog Tucker should the rapture come. Imagine if you could, winding a wave backwards, as if resetting the arms of a clock to its origins. Imagine reading the water like a seer sees a poem, tracing the vibrations through the wake and witnessing what little obstructions might lie in its past. In Micronesia, the Caroline Islands, hundreds of them, hardly feet in elevation above the Pacific, people lie down in canoes. They place their ear to beveled wood and run hands over the lifespan of a swell as it lifts the dugout they float in. They build a matang. Coconut palm fronds they cross together to form a lattice, a tool of feeling islands that might otherwise fall forever into the ocean's current. In this way they roll the brine back, unfolding into itself time and the distance of sea travel. What harmonies I cannot imagine to know what shapes the tides beyond our own burnished horizon. Part 3. Just under 100 light years away, Babe Ruth sits in Game 8 of the World Series. It's a best of 9 in 1921, broadcasting from KDKP in Pittsburgh, PA. 31 years earlier, in 1890, Heinrich Hertz invented the radio. That wave will pulse forever outwards, and whoever listens will hear cheers as the manager sends Ruth in to pinch hit in the bottom of the ninth. He'll ground out. The Yankees will lose the series, and so it will go ceaselessly into the wild quiet. I cannot hear it, but it is there. Every wave hums in that heavenly space, a commandment somewhere Hindenburg has just exploded and raptured, soon to follow the shock of Orson Welles and his War of Worlds. And a bit closer to home, just before killing herself, Sylvia Plath will read Daddy into a microphone. This is already 51 light years away. From a satellite, we know our galaxy resembles an eye, our supercluster spiraling hair. And with this, I picture smiling a Holy Spirit with its ear to the ground of a hollowed canoe, tracing the waves of navigation backwards to us.